What should I eat during a recovery week? Do I continue eating high quality to aid the recovery? Do I eat more salads and improve body composition that week? Or do I finally indulge in pizza for the sake of a mental break, since I always crave pizza and usually deny myself slices when in a training block? He says, thanks, eating pizza while awaiting your answer.
Okay, I'll talk really slowly so you can eat more pizza. No, this is a good question.
Yeah, it is.
And so optimal would be high quality to aid recovery. If you were a robot,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I think we all agree, and this is a trap people fall in, is don't, like if you just did a 3 to 5 week block, don't try to improve body composition during that recovery period, because that recovery period is when your body is really absorbing and you're going to get that pop in FTP.
Yep.
And that pop in FTP, you don't know what it is, but it is amazing. And when it happens, it feels so good.
Yeah, and
Right?
it's also worth saying, I think, for all of us here, that when you go through in the rest week, there is like, for the majority of us, there's probably some sort of pressure that we put on ourselves that like, we're not training as much. So therefore, I really need to watch it in terms of like body composition. But I've found that actually in terms of the outcome, that doesn't usually satisfy the outcome that I want.
I found that so having a few indulgences on that recovery week makes it easier for me to stay focused the other 3 to 5 weeks. So like I'm trying to get into wine, which is a weird thing to say, but I've got some wine. There's a Vivino app, which is amazing. And I have some wine at home, and I'm only drinking it on recovery weeks. 1 to 2 glasses. I'm not doing anything crazy.
Right.
But that then is a little mental break. It's nice. It's like it's ability to relax.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's good. And if that makes me really nail and my other plan and not get these like binges, that's the problem, is when you restrict yourself too much and then you get a binge. And people say everything in moderation, but the binges are what hurts you. And then I find too, when I binge on something, then that food starts tasting a lot better. And the healthy food starts tasting a lot worse. I just saw in the forum, actually, someone was complaining about Ezekiel bread and cereal that it tastes like nothing. That's because there's no added sugar. And you eat Ezekiel cereal a whole bunch, and you're like, this tastes awesome. And then you eat like a sugary cereal, and you're like, whoa, this is like, how can I? You ever eat like a kid cereal?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, this is disgusting. But if you eat that a lot, you're like, this is pretty good. Captain Crunch, that tastes good.
Right. Yeah. It's and the thing about like the binging side of things, I think a lot of it is psychological. I mean, it is psychological, but we don't think of it many times that way. We just tie it into like it's a craving and it's a physical need. But it is psychological. And when you talk about a recovery week is not only physical, it should also be psychological, because I know, at least so I'll just speak for me personally, when I go through a training block, there's a lot of like mental warfare going on, right? Like it's hard when you're training, like battling yourself and saying that you can do this, hold on, you can stick through that interval. Or when you have an intimidating workout coming up that day and you decide to take it on, that's tough. Like you're fighting against a lot of like opposition, even internally with all of that, not to mention all the external things that you're having to overcome in order to train. So that's really tough, and psychologically it can be hard. So it is important during that rest week, I've found, to be a bit more lenient on myself, but that doesn't mean just like you it
fall
doesn't,
off the wagon.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't fall off the wagon.
It's not just one or the other here. There's a spectrum to be operated on.
I usually do one fall off the wagon meal. Or it's just whatever I want. Olive Garden tortellini, which is like 2,200 calories.
Just go full in.
And then the next day, you're just like, I will not eat like this for another month. Because it's horrible.
There's, I'm sure, a cycling joke tied in there somewhere. With
There's a good question.
Meal.
What is your hardest mental part of a plan?
Honestly, mine is getting back into it after the rest week. That's for sure.
Hard one.
Hard.
I love that.
See, I always feel pretty bad after a rest week. But I definitely emphasize quality food and like really try to maximize that recovery period. But I usually ride a lot less and catch up on regular life things. So generally speaking, my legs feel worse, and that week of like getting back into the mix is so hard for me.
After that week,
then it's wonderful.
Then it's fine.
Yeah,
right?
Wonderful.
Air quotes. Air quotes. My
hard part is it's the final week before recovery. It's like 2, a day or 2 before vacation at work, you're like, man, vacation's right there.
Yes.
Why don't we just leave today?
You get senioritis, right?
Yeah, exactly. And 2, like race week, like the
Yeah.
last workouts before the race. And 2, I'm in my for race week. I'm always in my head. I'm like, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this?
Yeah, you question
Is
everything.
this too much?
I do like that race week feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, you guys are like inverted, right? That's a really good point on sticking to it and going through the whole thing. And that's why I think having like a plan laid out is so key, because especially like in our situations where we know like we don't necessarily have to have a plan, and all of us here in this room, we could lay out our workouts every day and it would be a good progression. We understand that sort of thing, right? But it's super important for me to have the plan because of the accountability it forces upon me of basically like, you have to do this, because otherwise it does get pretty hard. Like I get to like the end of like right now I'm in my final like the loading cycle basically of 3 weeks, and then next week is my recovery week, and it's so tempting to just be like, just take take that Friday off.
You could,
know?
So we know enough to right now build it, but then when you get into it in that final week, you're like, maybe I wasn't thinking so clearly back then. And I'm just going to tweak a little bit. Or now I'm just like, I'll just do what Chad says.
Yeah,
exactly. I just like trust it. And then because I've had success before and I know all the success for TrainerRoad people have done, I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. I know this is hard. And I'm really, am I really that bad?
Yeah.
Am I really that bad? Now let's just take some HTFU inside of me.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something that I feel like is totally inverted, like an understanding point that I feel like people get wrong. So there's like the saying of like, if the furnace is burning hot, toss whatever you want in there, right? Yeah. And so people think like when I'm training, I can eat whatever I want. And the answer is yes, you can.
You can.
But once again, doesn't mean you should, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, I think the way that I've evolved to see this, and I feel that it helps my training immensely, is quality work requires quality fuel.
For sure.
And when you're in your recovery week, there's not as much quality work going on. It's not as difficult. It's not as much load, period. And as a result, I don't think that the quality necessarily has to be that high. That said, I'm sure if you looked at the science behind everything, it would be better for your body if you ate quality all the time, right? But there is like a psychological balance point to be hit with this. But I think a lot of people do things backwards from what they should. They eat whatever they want during the loading weeks. And then in that deload week or that recovery week, they're like salads.
Tuna, what's your tuna?
Seared ahi salads,
there you
right?
go,
Yeah. That was my pre-race meal. Trying to lose weight in the middle of a stage race. Brilliant.
I do think there's one more thing you can do to help you out. I think we're really lucky here, like having you guys around all the time. You have like accountability partners, and then like even Strava, there's accountability. You know, like there's a lot of accountability that you can build into your kind of lifestyle. And it makes all those hard decisions slightly easier because you have other people to share it with.
The culture here is I have to be really careful that we don't go into like hostile work territory just because like, hey, what are you eating? Why are you eating that? That's fried.
How much did you weigh this morning?
With Chad, there's no holds barred, actually.
But we just have to. I mean, we always look at what we're eating. We're always curious and like. We're always proud too. Pete's like, look at all these vegetables that I have, right? And then we show it and like, what are you eating? And so and we get on Brandon. Brandon's like, the furnace is hot.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He had
Brandon
donuts
is on
this
that.
morning.
He did.
He's been improving his quality.
What did he tell us this morning? He's like, Thursday's my easy day. I sleep in, I wake up, I eat donuts, I don't train. So he was,
Maybe that's a mental thing for him though.
Exactly.
Because he does train more consistently than any of us.
It's
yes,
true.
he does.
Yeah.
So but that is a good point.
Can I plug my Instagram?
Actually, one quick thing. Yeah, the accountability partner thing is great, and you can have that there at work. But like, even my son, bless his heart, he's an awesome little accountability partner. Like, I come home.
Does he tell you? He shame you?
No, he doesn't shame me. Thank goodness, no. But like, when I come home, he always asks me every single night, "How'd your workout go? How'd your training go?" And I think it's because he sees that pattern from my wife, which she's an awesome accountability partner on that. I ask her how her kickboxing went or whatever else she had that day, and then she always asks me, and we kind of go into depth, and we probably bore each other, but I think that we do that because we know that it helps that individual.
Picture
you know
the
what I mean?
dinner table.
Well,
the second interval was pretty hard, but then the third one I started to really get my stride.
Honestly, that's not far off.
John is like pulls up like analytics.
Yeah,
he's like doing sections on it.
You can see my cadence dropping right here. You knew I was in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah, not far off. Not far
like,
off at all. Yep.
Good. Thanks, honey.
And then she starts on the kickboxing thing, and I smile and nod. Right? Yeah. But it is really helpful. to have people that are going to check up on you, not check up in terms of like you're in trouble if you don't sort of a thing, but and you can be that for somebody else. And sometimes if you're that for somebody else, then they'll do the same thing for you later on. So yeah, super helpful. On the nutrition side of things though, people should tune into your Instagram over the next 20 or 48 hours.
Forever.
Really
yeah,
say, yes,
also
this
forever.
is true. But specifically over the next 48 hours, what are you going to do?
I am going to, so we have race weekend, and
Yes, we
I
do.
am going to carb load. And I'm carb loading for a hour crit and a 2 hour mountain bike.
Which, hold on, right there, people are probably like,
70-minute crit.
Oh, it's 70?
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of carbs just changed. Just kidding.
people are probably like, what in the heck are you doing, Nate?
Yeah.
You don't have to carb load because it's not a long race.
Yeah, like what people are saying, they're typing, Nate, you will not run out of glycogen stores in a 70-minute race, right? And
Yes,
that's
and
true.
that's true.
Yeah.
I won't. But the performance will be better, and my RP will be lower, or RP will be the same, performance will be higher if I carb load. There's data to back that up.
Yes.
So what I'm aiming for is 10 grams of carbs per kilogram of body weight over 2 days. That equals about 860 grams of carbs for 2 days. And then I'm going to aim for 400 the day of the race. And luckily, on the first day, we race at like 4 p.m.
Yeah,
so
4:10,
I'll easy be able to hit
Lucky.
that. Yeah.
Not me.
So in carb load, there's many different ways.
Cat 3.
And I've looked, I've done like a lot of research on carb loading, and they all kind of get you to the same spot because they can measure how much glycogen you have. So like a 5-day carb load is the same as a 2-day intense carb load, is the same as there's one way where you deplete and then you carb load.
Yep.
But you don't have to do it that way.
Yeah.
So the 2-day carb load is what I like. I've had great success with it. It's hard. And I'm going to try to do it with mostly quality food, but not 100%. And I just remembered I forgot a bunch of food at home.
Shoot.
We can remedy that.
I know. Maybe I could go pick that up. But
So you've heard us on the podcast talk about how much Nate eats, and this is a good opportunity to see how much Nate eats.
this is a hard day.
So,
this is training.
Like, it's hard to eat
I'm
that
not
much,
looking
right?
forward to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, very hard.
But it is, and like you talked about, it's not about avoiding a bonk. It's about improving performance all the way along until you would reach some sort of inevitable bonk point. But the point is, it makes you actually faster. It doesn't just stop you from stopping.
And the second day mountain bike race, I think I'll have better performance on that day by loading Thursday, Friday before
sure.
that Sunday workout or Sunday race.
Yep.
And the other tip is you'll see very low fat and very low protein. At least you're not going to see big pieces of meat and fatty things. That's to keep the calories down, or else you just can't absorb it and weight gain. But I've done this in MyFitnessPal before. If you put in all the you put it all in, you're actually getting a ton of protein because all these like even oatmeal and bread,
quality carbohydrates have good
Yes.
macronutrient balance.
exactly, lentils, quinoa, they all have a ton of protein, or not a ton, but if you eat a ton of it, you're going to get a lot of protein.
Yep.
So I bet I'd be over 180 grams of protein for the day, which is plenty for me.
Yeah. If you like that video, subscribe to our channel and let us know down below with a like or a comment if you have a question or anything you want to say.
If you would like to check out more race analysis videos, click on me.
And if you want your coaching questions answered, click on me.
And if you want to find out more about what we do here at TrainerRoad, you can head over to TrainerRoad.com. That would be awesome.